Hi, my name is Mike Tidwell. I live in Tacoma Park, Maryland with my wife, Catherine Varshaver, and our 5-year-old son, Sasha. Today, I want to welcome you to our home. We have something of a pioneering home here in that we power our house almost entirely with the solar technology that you see behind me on my roof and other solar technology. And we heat our home with biomass energy, which is just a fancy way of saying that in the winter we heat our home by burning corn, if you can believe it. My wife and I made all these changes to our house because of our deep concern for the rapidly growing crisis of global warming and how it's going to affect where we live here in the Chesapeake region. And what I'd like to do is take you through our home, through the rest of this film, step by step, and show you how we were able to pay for these technologies and implement them practically in our house, and how you may be able to do the same thing wherever you live, in a rural area, a city, or the suburbs of Virginia, Maryland, or DC, and also show you how we were able to pay for all these technologies for only $1 a day out of our pocket, a very affordable way to go. And so why don't we get started? We're going to take you through the house and you can learn how you too can make exciting changes in your home to help fight global warming. Let's get started. Hi, well, welcome to my house, and we're going to begin the tour here in the family room where we spend most of our time. And as you can see, we have a nice flame going here. No, it's not wood. Actually, we're burning corn. That's how we heat our house, a renewable energy corn, as opposed to fossil fuels of natural gas to heat our home. This is a corn burning stove. We have a hopper in the back that holds up to 75 pounds of corn, fully automatic. You don't have to do anything but light the stove and let the corn come out. There's a little auger here that automatically brings the corn from the hopper into the flame, and then a fuel stirrer that stirs it. So everything that you would do manually in a fireplace, i.e. add the logs with your hands and then poke it and stir it to get it to burn, this does automatically with the help of electricity and a little computer circuit board on the side. Very modern, very convenient. We can load this thing, heat our home for a day and a half to 2 days without ever touching it. And this one stove, if you can believe it, actually heats almost our entire home. This house was built in 1915, and for the first time since it was built last winter, we never used our cast iron radiators. We only used this corn stove. With the help of a few ceiling fans and the fact that heat rises upstairs, this stove heated our home. The stove creates a friendly background hum and creates a wonderful fireplace ambiance 24 hours a day.
I was really skeptical when Mike first mentioned the idea of a corn burning stove. I had this image in my mind of kernels of corn popping all over the place and not a lot of heat being produced, and it just sounded kind of crazy. And it turned out to be fantastic. The house is warm, warmer than it's been in years since we've been conserving energy. And people are drawn to it. Our friends like to gather around it, our cats like to gather around it, and we find ourselves choosing to do things here around the fire rather than sit in front of the TV, for example, which is a great plus. And our 5-year-old loves it too, so it's a win-win all the way around.
But how does corn compare to natural gas or oil for home heating? Actually, corn is cheaper. Last winter we saved about $200 to $300 using corn to heat our home. But where in the world do we get the corn to heat our home here in an urban area? Well, we could drive 40 miles to a farm in Mount Airy where we get our corn, but we've solved that problem by actually getting a corn silo, a 20-ton corn silo that's now in Tacoma Park City property. The manufacturer of the stove actually gave us the grants to pay for the corn silo because they knew that they would sell more stoves if there were such a silo, and that is in fact the case. Now we just go a couple of blocks to this corn silo on city property, get the corn that we need, those of us who heat our homes with corn in Tacoma Park. Everybody wins, the manufacturer, the dealer of stoves, the city for its pollution laws, and individual consumers for the convenience of supply and lower price because we're buying in bulk. It's an excellent example of what communities can do in public-private partnerships to solve the problem of global warming when they put their heads together. Everybody wins. Okay, we've come back outside to see the other half of the corn burning equation. This is the vent. This is where the emissions from the corn stove are brought out. Right now, corn is being combusted inside, the house is being heated, that flame is still going on. But as you can see, there's virtually no smoke coming out of this vent. If you look at it from about 10 different angles, you might see a faint wisp of smoke, but virtually no smoke, no particulates. Corn burns very, very cleanly. This allows you to vent the stove almost anywhere in your house if your stove is next to a wall, or you can put it into your fireplace chimney, but you're not even limited to that. You can put this stove anywhere because it burns and emits almost no particulates. The smell vaguely like grilled corn, not popcorn as some people think, and the smell dissipates after about 50 feet, such that your neighbors won't even know you're burning corn. If you're going to heat your home with corn as a way of fighting global warming, it's important to remember two things about how the corn has to be raised. Number one, find a farmer who's using no-till agriculture. Lots of farmers in this region use it. This allows them to grow corn without tilling the soil, because if you till the soil, you actually increase erosion and you flush carbon dioxide out of the soil into the atmosphere, which accelerates global warming. Number two, find a farmer who's using organic methods to fertilize his fields with turkey manure, cow manure, other forms of green fertilizers. This allows you to avoid petroleum-based fertilizers, which actually, again, accelerate global warming. So no-till agriculture and organically fertilize. That's the way you raise clean corn. But does burning corn to heat your home actually help fight global warming? The answer is yes. Why? Because when corn grows, it absorbs carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, just like any living plant, a tree, a shrub, grass. And when you burn it, it actually releases no more carbon dioxide than it absorbed when it grew. So that is a wash. Now, there are some fossil fuel inputs on the farm side. Diesel fuel for the tractor, for the combine, some natural gas to shell and dry the corn, and of course gasoline to transport the corn from the farm to the house. But even if you factor in all of these inputs, these fossil fuel inputs on the farm side, it still comes out to an 85% reduction in terms of CO2 emissions using corn over natural gas. Corn is clean energy. The next step on our home tour brings us back up to the roof where we started. You'll see around me 36 photovoltaic solar panels. What that means is that these panels are actually converting sunlight into electricity, and that electricity, as I speak right now, is powering everything in our house, from our refrigerator to the microwave to the stereos, you name it. It's all coming from the sun right now. The way it works is that sunlight strikes these panels, it creates a field of electrons which are then grouped into a current that goes into the basement, where a special computer device converts it to electricity that then can power our house. What's interesting about these panels is that they were actually made by one of the largest oil companies in the world, British Petroleum. These panels, in addition, are very quiet. In fact, they make no noise at all because there are no moving parts. They also create electricity on cloudy days. Now, this form of renewable energy technology is actually kind of expensive compared to other kinds of renewable energy. However, what made it affordable for my family is that we did our homework. We found a grant program that was being offered by the state of Maryland that was open to all homeowners. We took advantage of a special Maryland tax incentive to go solar. And in addition to that, we put the panels up ourselves, which was actually easier than you think, because the panels are easily fit together and any moderately handy person can do it. We had our solar contractor do all the hard work in wiring the panels to the basement and to the grid, but we did the grunt work, bringing the price way down and putting the panels on the roof ourselves. Also, of course, sunlight is free. There's no price on sunlight. And if you were to consider the cost of installing the system, this system will actually pay for itself during the lifetime of the panels, which is about 30 years. So in essence, we're creating free electricity and we're not paying for it, taking advantage of what's offered to all of us for free from the sun. Why don't we now go and see if the panels are actually creating electricity like I told you? I'll prove it to you. Let's go. This is our electricity meter, and if you look closely, you'll see that it's actually running backwards. The numbers are getting smaller. Why is that? Because all those solar panels that you saw on the roof on this average sunny day are actually creating more electricity than we're using. Everything in our house is currently being powered by solar electricity, but we're creating more than we need. So what do we do with the surplus? Well, we're actually storing it with the grid, with Pepco, our local utility. Instead of buying environmentally damaging and expensive batteries to store electricity, we let the grid work for us. Now what's happening is the electricity is literally running in the reverse along the line that connects our house to the grid. Now what happens is, at night, when the sun sets and we're no longer creating electricity with our solar panels, but of course we're still using electricity, our meter will then begin to run forward. And that's how we keep our account square with the utility. Maryland, like Virginia and 33 other states in the United States, has a law called a net metering law. It requires our local utility to take our excess electricity, store it for us, and give it back to us at the end of the day. What this does is it allows us to save several $1,000s by not buying batteries, using the grid as a battery. And interestingly enough, all electricity meters, average meters, will run backwards and forwards. So we didn't have to buy a new meter. This thing, who knew?